All right. Welcome back. The Arizona Cardinals lose a tough one to the Houston Texans, a kind of rather convincing game on their behalf. This last Sunday, we're going to dive in and talk about it. This is We're the Game. I'm Michael, and that's Luke. And let's just jump right on in. I think the place maybe to start is, obviously some things went right for Houston to score 40 points in that game. But at the same time, it's almost like there wasn't some huge, uh, you know, 300-yard rushing game or something like that. It seemed like just a methodical kind of pace throughout the game. Um, what was your kind of take on the Houston offense, and then I guess also on the highs and lows of the Arizona Cardinals defense in this one? Which, I mean, your defense has been, I think, fairly the more stable element of your team throughout the season. I do think they're a little bit beat up now at this juncture. But yeah, what's your take on that from looking back at this last game?
So your question is, what happened to the
Yeah,
offense, or what happened to the defense, or let me get some
yeah, no.
clarification. I
I
ripped
guess
into
what,
someone.
what did they do well? Like, 40 points is a lot of points against a team that really hasn't given up many games along those lines. Happens to everybody at least once during the season. But what did they do that maybe exploited something on your team? And then what were some of the positives on the defense, even though they scored 40 points, if any?
As far as exploiting something on our team, I'm not sure that they found this one magic thing. Like we talked when we talked about Dallas, we talked about how like
Yeah,
they put an extra offensive lineman out basically, and that negates some element of your
magic.
defense quite effectively. It seems like I don't know
Yeah,
that we have a kryptonite like that. I know it's a bit
yeah,
strong, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
Like, I don't know that we have that particular element. We do have a substantial amount of injuries. I'm not going to put our entire season on that, but we do have a lot of injuries. This is true. Um, it's not even just about the points that got scored so much, and this is a weird kind of diversion from what we were just talking about, but it's about when they scored them. They scored 17 points in the first 9 minutes. So they
yeah,
capitalized on our mistakes, and we kept making them. So again, I don't think that this was one of their players. They just put Derek Stingley on Trey McBride and erased him. Let's hope that's not the case, because I think Stingley's better than that. But Trey McBride went off again. So it's not like they did one magic thing. They took advantage of opportunities. They did get a couple of big plays. Nico Collins had a heck of a big, like a 58-yard touchdown that was huge. So yeah, I don't think this was, again, I don't think this was about them doing some incredible chess move to counter what we do. It
yeah.
was just a team that just
Methodical
did
game.
really well. On a kind of bright side, I thought their defensive line was going to annihilate us, like 10 sacks or
Yeah,
something like that. And that really didn't
yeah,
happen at all. There was some pressure, but it was not like that at all. I do think part of that, as I alluded to before the stream started, was I think that part of it was they got up big and went into prevent. So there were I doubt that they rushed more than 4, but a handful of times after the first quarter even. So that helped that stat, but at the same time, it didn't really mean much. They just didn't need to get after the quarterback. Normally, they can at will just attack a quarterback because they have incredible players up front with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. They have some strong blitz packages. They can get help from the back end from guys like Derek Stingley. So they're exceptional at this, and we just didn't give them a need to do that. So again, for the what went right, I don't know, nothing.
yeah,
For the Cardinals, nearly nothing went all that right. What went wrong? We turned the ball over essentially 4 times, between an interception, a fumble, and then two missed opportunities on 4th down. So it was just, we made mistakes. They really didn't. I do think, again, to go back to something I said earlier, when we made the mistakes kind of matters. When it's like a guy getting a big chip stack in poker, and he can just lean on you and play the game however he wants. They had a running back come in, and it was his first game ever, and he got 100 yards off of 15 carries. He's like, I don't know why y'all make this running back thing look so difficult. This is easy. And when you play us, apparently. So
yeah,
yeah, Yeah, I'd like to say that's the short version of it, but that was anything but short. So that's my best,
That's solid though.
best
It was solid.
kind of what happened. What did you think?
Well, I think they got a lot of like you said, they didn't make mistakes. They didn't make mistakes. It's hard to beat a team that doesn't make mistakes. The Rams have been living on that all year. We've been talking about all year. The Texans, on the other hand, like until about what 3 games ago, 4 games ago, they were making mistakes and paying for them. Now they've stopped making those mistakes, and this I think was another example of that. They did get a lot of mileage out of a few big plays. You brought up the Nico Collins, the high 50s kind of a long play, but Jawar Jordan, a great, phenomenal game. I don't want to take anything away from him, but he did have like a 50-yard play, which is the bulk of that stats. If that one play doesn't happen, he's probably in a much more normal type stat. But it's the one big play kind of thing. And as a Dallas Cowboy fan, we live in giving up one big play like over and over and over. So I can definitely appreciate that. You had mentioned Walter Nolen. He tends to have these rather unique kind of moments in games, like interceptions that he ends up running back for touchdowns and things like that. What it seemed like he had a pretty decent game in this one. What was your take on Mr. Nolen?
If he can stay healthy, there's a lot of excitement for Walter Nolen. Is the big one, and that's easy to say. He got hurt coming like through camp. We did the calf strain that has become like an Arizona tradition, and then he had that touchdown you were just talking about. He got hurt there, but it didn't last a particularly long time. I can't remember if that was a concussion. I think it was a concussion, and he might have missed 1 week. So he's able to come back, thank goodness, and that's great. But like when I watch him as a defensive tackle, he is a complete player. He is good at timing up passes to get his hands up in the air. That's how we got a pass deflection today. He's got good situational awareness to see where the ball is, which is how that ball ended up in his hand for that touchdown. I will say some of that was the ball was in the right place. But
Sure.
Still, he knew him immediately. I know what to do. Like, here's the ball, grab it, go. And he wasted no time. And that was great. So he is a complete player. He's good at getting after the quarterback, getting a hand on his foot just as he runs by and snagging a sack that way. He's not a big, what do we call this? He's not a big bravado guy. He's not a big, I appreciate those guys. Like I have a little celebration, I guess that's fine. But after watching Larry for so long, I'm just hand the ball to the ref and go back to work. You're doing great. Good job. We love you. But I'm happy to see that. And he's a super young player too. He just turned 22 at the start of the season. Not Larry Fitzgerald, obviously, but Walter Nolen. And so it's good to see, he's still got his prime in front of him somewhere, physically speaking. Yeah. So excited to see what he does moving forward. We do have some bright spots, and so I don't want to overlook that. Of course, Trey McBride had another huge game. Sorry, what were you going to ask?
Oh no, it was a statement. It's somebody. I was reading a thing about how athletic Walter Nolen is. Like, they're all athletes. They're all in the NFL, but he's unusually agile for a tackle. Like that's just as you were talking about him. He is unusually agile, which has helped him make some of these very unique, maybe not very unique, but rather unique kind of plays. And I think that's all I was going to say is just for a guy who's 6'4", 300 or whatever he is shockingly agile. So I'm intrigued to see as he matures what does that translate to. But that's all I was going to say before you pivot to someone who's truly already phenomenal, Mr. McBride. Yeah. What were you going to say about Trey?
Just Trey, just another, he deserves some kudos, some praise, some recognition for this game. I do view a lot of the yards and points and whatnot as kind of junky. It was 30 seconds left in the third quarter, excuse me. So, it is what it is. But at the same time, you still got to catch the ball. You still got to get hit, get it in the end zone and all that. And he is proving to be everything that we just paid him to be. So good leader of the team, gets it done on the field. So you have to mention him again. He's setting all kinds of Cardinals records for tight ends and things like that. He's breaking his own records. I think he's 5th or 6th in the league in yards at this point. So great job, Trey McBride. Michael Wilson had a slightly less prolific day, but again, he won't play a defense this good again for the remainder of the season. And we'll play a couple of pretty good defenses, but going up against, I imagine, Derek Stingley quite a bit. I haven't gone back and watched every snap, but he's having to deal with guys at that level, and he's still getting 50 yards and a touchdown, I think.
Right.
His touchdown catch was really nice. It was well played defensively. It just made it an even better catch. And kudos to Jacoby Brissett too. It was a nice throw. Put it to where only Michael Wilson could catch it. So there were some things to celebrate in this game. I don't want to be all doom and gloom, but it's this is our fourth game in the last 6 where we've allowed 40 points or more. So it's kind of obvious where the problem really is. Yes, the offense is turning the ball over a fair bit in the recent games. 4 turnovers is certainly not nothing. I know that they don't count fourth down failures as a turnover in the same sense that I do, but to me it's a turnover, just like if you just fumbled the ball or a bad snap or something like that. So I get why teams go for it on fourth down all the time. I understand the whole analytics approach. I mean, I don't understand all the analytics, but I get that there's a math to this that says go for it. So that's fine, but it is what it is. You didn't get it. So yeah, there's really just, there are players on defense. Well, I'm going to kind of go off on the defense just a little. There are players on the defense I'm happy with. Walter Nolen, of course. Will Johnson, the 2 guys we took early in this draft, and there are some guys in the secondary that I'm like, man, that's a good looking, solid player there. Denzel Burke and Jordan Birch. I like both of those guys. They're not both secondary, but as a whole, we have not created a good defensive unit. So we're about 20 days away from Black Monday, and we'll see how big the changes are that the Arizona Cardinals decide to make. And yeah, like that's the big one. Is really we're just waiting for next season. I'm on Tankathon watch all the time now, and we moved up all the way to 6th this week. So I'm hoping we can maybe move up to like 4th by the end of the season. That would be really nice.
You'll be in the conversation for sure. For sure. Well, and just to I guess go back and touch on the 2 obvious ones, or really just the Trey one. It's really I know that at this point in time, as a Cardinals fan, and no other fan bases you're looking for silver linings, right? To each game, it's not fun, but it's still worth noting, I think. And Trey McBride and the true gold that he is, the diamond in the rough that he is in the NFL. There's lots of teams. Dallas has a good tight end. Ferguson's great, but there are Trey McBride right now looks like he is going to move into that Travis Kelce, George Kittle, like you were the Mark Andrews, like you're the dominant tight end in the league, every team's nightmare kind of dude, because the previous season he had a lot of yardage, but we talked about it regularly. Why can this massive dude not catch the ball in the end zone? It wasn't to be mean. It was just like, man, how do we transition that? How do you get him more involved there? And now this year, even with all the offensive woes and the transition and 2 quarterbacks and all these different problems, he's on pace. I want to say they have him projected to be 12, maybe even more than that, touchdowns. That's a big deal. And the beauty, as you already pointed out, you've already paid him. You already paid him, so you've locked him in. So he's definitely excited. I get excited about him just because he's on a team I enjoy watching, and he's going to be a contributor, I think, for a while. So yeah, another great game for him. You need all the silver linings you can take.
Yes, we do.
Because the schedule coming up, I know, is ongoing, going to continue to be challenging for the Cardinals coming up. We'll get into more of that here later. For now, let's wrap it up here, I think. Thanks everybody for joining in. Join us again to hear more about the Cardinals and their upcoming games, and we will continue to follow them through the rest of their journey of the season. Definitely please leave a comment, like, subscribe. We'd love to talk with you about whatever it is that's on your mind about the Texans. If you're a Texans fan who needs the opportunity to gloat, Cardinals fan who needs a ear to listen to, we're here for you. So let us know, and we'll catch you next time. Have a great day.